Hi, this is Attorney Shakrali talking to you from the Bay Area, California, about immigration law. As you know, the Shakrali Law Groups deals in immigration law and also another department dealing in debt settlement. But today I'm going to talk about immigration law and more specifically about IT consulting firms and the issues that they face, which pretty much kind of have a chilling effect on encouraging them to file or not file for H-1B cases or for PERM cases, which is the labor certification process. First of all, let's go back a little bit in time. Back in the days, it was a lot easier for an IT consulting firm to bring their consultants and place them in different companies without having to face major issues of proving that they have been able to place them all the time or things like that. Although the laws were there, it has not really been applied strictly. But lately, after January 2010, the Neufeld Memo kind of put a lot of restrictions on those IT consulting firms. Many people also have, of course, they are not very happy with IT consulting firms. They believe that they are kind of cheating the system. But as an immigration lawyer, I know these firms are very important to the economic well-being, especially for big companies who are not willing to go ahead and do the sorting of talents, of skilled employees. So they use those IT consulting firms basically as a tool to do that sorting, and this is how they can get the cream to keep the economy growing, especially in the IT sector and of course in other sectors. But IT, information technology, is the biggest sector. So I'm going to cover some of the things that pretty much kind of affect those IT firms, and I'm going to kind of try my best to cover many of them, and we have a good article about this on our website, piralilaw.com. One of the big things that came out from the Neufeld Memo is the right of control and dominion. And there is a wrong interpretation, actually, to be honest, of the law, and it is not really a requirement as they mention it there, although it's something that they are arguing extensively, and a good lawyer will be able to counteract those arguments, and we have done it successfully. You can check some of our H-1Bs we have done. So that's one issue that is scaring a lot of people. Control and dominion means when you're placing that person, how much control do you have over that person there. Then the other big thing which is becoming a requirement and a must on a case are the end client letters. The end client letters is almost indispensable, to be honest. You will need to have it to be able to show to the USCIS whenever you are doing a new H-1B case, or ultimately you are doing an H-1B transfer. And if you don't have it, what happens next is there is a chance of denial. However, our law firm has been able to even get approvals without those end client letters. But as a matter of principle, you have to have them. End client letters is to get the letters from the end client. Basically, most IT consulting firms operate in a way where they place the candidates or their employees to different locations, and that can be done through different layers, from one IT consulting firm A to IT consulting firm B to C, D. The end client is D, so you need to have this letter from D, or trace the whole thing. And there was another memo that came out explaining this, but it's very important to have it. And also another thing that we are seeing, which is becoming a problem, is when do you have to do an amendment on the H-1B, or when do you have to do a new LCA? Well, if you are moving within the MSA, the same metropolitan area, you just need an LCA if you are working for the same company. However, if you are moving out of this area, it is recommended to do an amendment. It's a case-by-case basis, and we are recommending people to do it in certain cases, and we are not recommending them to do it in other cases. So it's good to know that when do you file an LCA, or do an amendment on the H-1B, or do both. Of course, if you're doing an amendment, you have to do an LCA. The other thing that people ask us, okay, what happens if I want to work? My job is only certain number of hours in this company and then another company. What do I do? Well, you can file what we call a part-time H-1Bs, multiple H-1Bs, which is totally allowed and which needs to be done, and our law firm has done it successfully also. Now let us look at the green card part, the permanent residence. Most of those people most of the candidates or people who are on H-1Bs will ultimately look into a green card because it allows for a dual intent. And the way that is most common is the PERM labor certification. And the biggest problem that they have with PERM oftentimes is their ability to pay. What some people don't know is that ability to pay can be proven in different ways, including proving on the net profit, or the candidate is being paid the prevailing and the required wage, or a combination of the net profit plus the wage which is already being paid, or also the net current assets, or a combination of salary and net current assets. So all this can be done need to be done at the outset before filing the PERM. You don't want to reach a point where you are on the I-140 level and you say, okay, oops, now I cannot file the case. And there are other exceptions where you can also use the assets of the owner of the business. Another thing that we are seeing very, very common now is because of the fact that H-1B is closed and people need candidates or need employees with IT skills, they're using extensively students on OPT, which is optional practical training, which is a work permit after you complete your degree, or people on CPT. While OPT is not such a strict rules, except you have to be working, you can only not work usually for 90 days unless exceptional circumstances, CPT has a bigger problem. CPT is a curriculum practical training. It's not a work permit. People get confused on that because the problem is many people think, oh, I'll just get it and I keep working. Many schools you have seen are in trouble because of this. Tri-Valley University became one of them, and one of the victims. People became victims of that, and also we are seeing it now with many other small schools. So don't abuse the CPT. The CPT is not a work permit tool, although it can be used for that. The goal is to get you kind of an internship, if I should call it that. The other thing now you have people are not getting H-1Bs, so they are looking into what we call the B1 visa in lieu of the H-1B, which is a new kind of a novel concept, and this has to be applied at the outset, and you need to meet the requirements. What it means basically, someone can qualify for an H-1B and a specialty occupation, but what happens is the H-1B is not open and the company needs that person here. Well, there are a bunch of requirements that you need to meet on that, which you can see on our blog, Immigration Legal blog. And basically you have to prove a specialty occupation, and you have to prove that person is not going to be paid in the US, and you have to mention it at the outset. Some people mention it after the fact, but that might not work. But it's a new concept, so we're looking into that. It's not a great option for many companies because it's very temporary. So as soon as you get a chance, don't keep one advice to the IT consulting firms, don't keep your candidates on OPT or CPT, put them on an H-1B as soon as possible. The other thing that we are seeing a lot of problems on, and people are coming back to us to fix those problems, is reliance on non-lawyers to prepare the cases. I know the economy is tough, and people think that by paying a non-lawyer it would be cheaper to do your H-1B or even do the PERM. There are a few things about that. For one, a non-lawyer is not allowed to practice law without a license, and if you're requesting them to practice law, you kind of which is a crime in California, for example, you can be an accomplice of that. And oftentimes we see those non-lawyers have no ethical values. They will cheat on the cases, and even they don't cheat on your cases, they might cheat on other people's cases. And then when there's an investigation by the FBI or the USCIS, you will be caught in the net in that. So be careful, use a lawyer, and we know many of them in the Bay Area are operating illegally too, but unfortunately, and USCIS is cracking down on them, but there's only so much they can do. So use a lawyer who's licensed to practice law, like we are licensed. I am licensed in California. Hassan, my partner, is licensed also in California. Not California, in Chicago, I'm sorry. So we can help you. So make sure, again, you don't hire a non-lawyer. And then the other thing is also using all the other alternatives. Of course, there are many other visas you can use. For example, L1As, L1Bs, O visas, straight green card, EB1, national interest waivers. All those are things that you can use to get your employees here, your skilled labor here. So don't just give up and get stuck only on H1B or other a visa where you are sure you're not going to get it. And also, if you're going for stamping for your candidates, make sure that everything is prepared properly. Otherwise, INA 221G is going to give you a hard time. So all those issues need to be addressed by a lawyer who's experienced in doing this. So our law firm has been doing it for a while now. We have very good track record. We are rated on avo.com. As you can see behind me, my avo plate 10.0, which is the highest. Hassan is above 9 in the office, and we have been able to win cases where certain times people don't even see any solutions. And again, whatever I'm telling you today is for educational purposes only. You should not act or refrain to act solely on the information provided. You should contact an attorney. If you want to call us, the number to call is 510-742-5887. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and keep listening and checking all our articles, YouTube and radio shows. By the way, we have a radio show that runs 24/7. It's called attorneyonair.com. Click on it. You will get a lot of questions answered for you. Thank you very much, and till the next video, this is Shapir Ali broadcasting from Newark, California.